51% of undergraduates finish college with student debt, according to College Board. And it takes a borrower a little over 20 years to pay off student loans, according to the Education Data Initiative. But there are some strategies that you can take in order to pay loans off quickly here. To discuss, we have Tricia Scarlatta, who is the J.P. Morgan Asset Management Head of Education Savings. Great to have you here in studio with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back.
Absolutely. Let's talk about this. I mean, we're just a few weeks, months into the school year. And for those who are getting ready to go to college or those who are in college right now, a lot of those discussions on a family level have either already needed to be had or are being had as preparation for next year, making those decisions as well. And so as people are thinking about what families need to do to begin this conversation, where does that discussion start?
Well, I think what you're saying is so important because many families don't have the discussion and make rash decisions. I mean, look, we all want our kids to be able to fulfill their dreams and go to the place of their dreams. But the earlier you have these conversations around cost, I envy those families that have those conversations and say to their child, we can afford X amount. It's such an important conversation to have. And even when we talk to people about saving and investing for college, you start with the number. So yes, have those conversations early on so that you can best prepare. And also you don't want to disappoint the child. And that's where the problem comes in. We start borrowing money because we want our child to be happy.
How important is it to really run the math on what the payoff is going to be? We always talk about return on investment, whether it's in the equity market or whether it's in an experience as well. And this is a major financial decision for families looking to make sure that they're also getting the bang for the buck on the other side too.
Well, yeah, I mean, and as far as debt, if you think about it, student debt is the second largest type of debt in this country. Yeah. Mortgages is the first. If you were to ask the average person who their mortgage lender was, what their mortgage balance was, and what their rate was, they would probably know pretty close. If you ask them the same question about student debt,
no clue.
No clue.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, and no pun intended, is do your homework. Because a $25,000 loan, which is what the average family took out in 2023, over 10 years, and just as you noted, most families don't pay off in 10 years, they pay off in 20. But let's just say you paid off in 10, that becomes $34,000 in payments. So think about what that means for your family. That's a $300 a month payment. You double that, so say you get to $50,000, which is what the average family graduates with in debt. That's a $600 payment a month. And double that, and it's $68,000 after 10 years. So again, do the homework. Understand what you're getting into. Go to studentaid.gov, look at that website, look for the updates on what's going on with these federal loans, opportunities to, whether it's forgiveness, forbearance, whatever that may be. Understand it.
Okay, we also got some tips here on screen for our viewers, just how to prepare for bills as well. What do you recommend for those who are looking for those bills, just waiting for it to show up in the inbox or in the mail and trying to make sure that they can pay down those bills as well?
Look, first of all, I always tell people, if you do have loans, I mean, it is the biggest struggle. 85% of students that have loans say that they're going to struggle. So you have to prioritize things, but it's very important to not default on these loans because in time, that default is going to hurt your credit. So you have to prioritize paying these loans off. Find out what type of repayment programs there are. If you went to studentaid.gov today, you would see multiple amounts of options for you. So don't default. That's number one. Folks are asking me today, the interest rates, the Fed just dropped rates.
Right.
What does that mean? Well, for federal loans, it doesn't mean much right now because remember that loan is locked in the summer.
Right.
But for private loans, certainly an opportunity to start looking and potentially refinance those loans.
Certainly. Just lastly, how much college debt is too much college debt?
I mean, I think that, we say the rule of thumb is what are you going to make when you graduate your first year out? A lot of these kids are making a lot of money when they come out these days, so I don't know if that's the best rule of thumb, but I think it's a great place to start. I mean, the federal government limits those loans. Where you start to get really dicey is when you take out the max on the federal and then go into private. But really start with understanding what your income is going to be and what you can afford on a monthly basis. But also think about your retirement. Think about what you're going to want to put away for your retirement as well.
Tricia Scarlato, who is the JP Morgan Asset Management Head of Education Savings. Great to see you again. Great to have you back in studio.
My pleasure.
Absolutely.